Hello everyone, this is Craig. Several of you had some difficulties with the Venn diagram problem, the one with three circles, three sets in the Venn diagram in our Unit 1 work. And I know it's a little late to be doing this now, but some of you are still asking about it, so I thought I'd work the problem that one of you, or maybe multiple of you, saw in your ME1 work. It's a problem that says a survey of 93 college students was taken to determine the musical styles that they liked. Of those, 27 students listened to rock, 34 to classical, and 36 to jazz. Also, 15 students listened to rock and jazz, 13 to rock and classical, 20 to classical and jazz, and finally, 11 of them listened to all three types of music. Construct the Venn diagram and determine the cardinality for each region. Cardinality, what's that mean? That is simply the number of elements in the set. Use the completed Venn diagram to answer the following questions. Okay, all of these problems are done the same way. So first of all, I would just like to summarize the data from the paragraph. Let's see, we have a total of 93 students. 27 listen to rock. And 34 to classical. I'm going to abbreviate that CLASS. And 36 to jazz. All right. And then we have the pairs of types of music that students listen to. Okay, so we have 15 rock and jazz. We have 13 to rock and classical. And we have 20 to classical and jazz. How many was that? 20. And finally, we have 11 students listening to all three. Oopsie. All three. And there's 11 of those. Okay, so now we're ready to draw our diagram and put these numbers into the Venn diagram. And again, every one of these is done the same way. So I'm going to start out with three circles. And first I'm going to label them. We have three major categories. Rock. That's this circle. We have classical over here. And down here we have jazz. Okay, now let's see. It says rock are 27 of them. You might be tempted to throw a 27 into the rock circle. But that's not right, because some of those 27 may belong to this intersection of rock and classical, or the intersection of rock and jazz, or the intersection of all three. We can't do that. No, we have to start a different way. And the way that we begin is by looking at the very center. We know that there's 11 students who listen to all three types of music. And if that's true, there is only one spot for those 11. It's the intersection of all three circles. That's where we begin. Now we back up and we look at these pairs of music styles. First of all, let's look at rock and jazz. It says there's 15 that listen to both rock and jazz. Well, where is that? Here's rock, it's this circle, and here's jazz, it's this circle. But people over here in this rock, this big area here, only listen to rock. And over here, they only listen to classical. Which means those who listen to, whoopsie, I was doing the wrong one. Let's do rock and jazz. Here's the rock people, here's the jazz people. Yeah, these up here, that's only rock people, and this is only jazz people. So where these 15 are that listen to both are the intersection of those two circles. And where is that area? Well, it's right here. Here's the intersection of rock and jazz. Okay, but we have already counted for 11 people there. Let's see, it says there's supposed to be 15 in total, which tells us one thing. There must be the other 4 sitting right there. Now we have a total of 15 people who listen to both rock and jazz. Excuse me. Now we do the same thing with rock and classical and with classical and jazz. Let's see, who's next? Rock and classical. See, it says there's 13. Again, it's the intersection of rock and classical. And that area is only this segment right here. We've already accounted for 11 of them. There's 13. There can only be 2 more in that section. There we go. And finally, we'll do the same thing with classical and jazz. There's 20 of them. We've accounted for 11. Oh, we've been drawing circles. Let's continue. Circles, whatever these shapes are. 20 total. We've accounted for 11. There can only be 9 left. There we go. That's how we begin. We started with all 3. We dealt with the 3 doubles. And now we need to finish it off by looking at the listen to one type of music. Let's start with rock. It says there's 27. Well, where are the rock listeners? Well, there's just one place where those rock listeners are. They're all in this big circle. But we can't stick a 27 here. No. We've already counted for, let's see, 11, 13, 17 of them. How many are left? Well, if there's 27 total, this has got to be a 10 out here. Did I do that right? 10 plus 11 is 21, 25, 26, 27. Sure enough. Now we can go over to classical and do the same thing. Should have a total of 34. Let's see, 11, that's 20, 22. To get to 34, I need 12 more. And finally, in the jazz group, there is a total of 36. How many have we already counted for? Well, let's see, that's 24. We need 12 down there as well. Let's just double check. 36 in jazz, 12, 22, 23, 27, 34. What did Craig do wrong? Try it again. Let's say that's 20, 32, 36. I just added wrong. I got 36 there. That's what I wanted. Over in classical, I got 20, 32, 34. Yep. And up in rock, I've got 11, 21, 22, 23, 27. Sure enough, I've now filled out the cardinality of my Venn diagram. That's the trickiest part. But it's not the only tricky part. Let's look at these questions, which I've already included the answers here. But let's see if we can make this work. How many listened to only rock music? Well, here's our rock music diagram. But let's see, these guys over here, these 2, they listen to both rock and classical. And these 4 listen to both rock and jazz. And these 11 who listen to rock also listen to classical and jazz. So the ones who are only listening to rock are those 10. And that's our answer. How many listen to classical and jazz, but not rock? Ooh, classical, jazz, but not rock. Which means we want to remove a section. Since these guys are the rocks, we don't want to consider anybody in that red circle. Which means we're only looking at the 12, the 9, and the 12. But here's where we have to be careful. It says listen to classical and jazz. We've already eliminated rock, but where is classical and jazz? Well, let's see. That's jazz only. This is classical only. It says classical and jazz. That's our 9 right there. That's why our answer is 9. All right, how many listen to classical or jazz? Oh, classical or jazz. Note slight difference. And jazz or jazz. Listen to classical or jazz, but not rock. Classical or jazz, but not rock. I'm stumped on this one. Classical or jazz. Eliminate the rock. Classical or jazz, but not rock. Why is it 3? Do I have a wrong number there? I'm thinking it should be 24. Classical or jazz? Gonna have to go check that one. What am I doing wrong? Should have worked the problem beforehand, shouldn't I? How many listen to music in exactly one of the musical styles? Well, let's see. These people down in these intersections are listening to 2 or 3 types. We don't want those. We only want the people who are up in the big parts, listening to exactly just one of the musical styles. And how many are there? 12 and 12 is 24, and 10 is 34. We got that one right. How many listen to music in exactly 2 of the music styles? Well, let's see. 2 of the music styles. This intersection here with 11 and the 2 are people who listen to rock and classic. Ooh, I take it back. The 11 listen to all 3. So the people that listen to just 2 of them are in these intersections. The 2, the 4, and the 9. These 9 listen to classical and jazz. 4, rock and jazz, and 2, rock and classical. So let's add those up. We would have 13, 14, 15. Oh, we did good. Finally, how many did not listen to any of the musical styles? Well, if we add all these numbers up, we find that there's a total there, and I did write this number down. Where did I put it? Here it is. It's 60 of them. There's a total of 60 within the Venn diagram. Now, we are told up front that's a survey of 93 students. So how many do not listen to any of these? Well, those are the ones that remain in the universal set, which is 93. And if we subtract the 60, we get 33. Not listening to anything. You know what we call those people? Boring. All right, let's go back and look at this one that I goofed up on. How many listen to classical or jazz? Or jazz, which means either one, but not rock. I swear I made a typo there. Let's see. Classical or jazz, but not rock. And it doesn't say both classical and jazz. It says or. Boy. All right. I don't suppose you're going to see this when I jump pages, but I'm going to go back over. Where is this? Oh, I think I closed the window. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back our video. I'm going to pause it and go check it out. Be right back. I'm back, and I found my error. I made a couple errors. First of all, I made a typo. This number's supposed to be 33, but that's not the 24 that I counted, and it's because I was thinking incorrectly about or. Or means, that's a colon, one or the other, or both. Ah, that's our definition of or, which means I'm looking for those that listen to classical or jazz. It's these 12 plus these 12 plus also the 9 that listen to both of them. And if you add those 3 up, 12 and 12 is 24, plus 9 is 33. There we go. There's our answer, folks.